for it's just for distributors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is just for us. It's not going to be shared on the open internet or anything like that. It's just we can refer back to if that's okay.
So yeah, the idea is that when you open it as a end user, you have a very decluttered interface with minimal elements to act on.
But as it stands right now, it could be deployed in the opticians. You know, you actually could have sensors.
In a sense, what would be interesting, I think, from the end user is all they really need to have information on this is what the meditation, what it's focusing on, and then any feedback as to whether there's an whether the system's. I suppose you wouldn't know whether there was an improvement until you had another scan.
Yes, but for that you need several scans. What you are asking is exactly what we have now in the balance page, because when you just open the balance page, you have the different planets with the priorities. So this is what we are focusing on. And on the right, you have some graph evolution if there are several recordings, and you can see how things are going. So this is basically the page, the only page that end users should see. That one and the one from the frequencies.
But over say it's a 21-day, and the scan, you only have an initial scan, and then the rest of the time you're just listening. Is it that the software takes you through a number of stages and applies? Yeah. So it's a sequence where it needs time for the sequence to be played out.
Yes, and it changes every day, and it changes more if you do a reevaluation. Because if you do a reevaluation, it can also change your resources according to how it's and so on.
Yeah, I think to start off with, we'll just do the initial scan, 21 days. They log on their own equipment, they've got their own earphones. And if they don't have their own earphones, we can always lend them. And we see what they're like after 21 days. And they then come back. They either then say, yes, there's an improvement in my eye vision, or there's an improvement in my health. Let's do it again.
Yeah, exactly. And you can be sure that they will see that they will feel an improvement. Just even listening to the first frequency, once it starts, you instantly feel better. It's bizarre. No, not bizarre, but like it's just like absolutely incredible how it just basically hits that exact right kind of note.
And it's 21 days that have you worked? Is it that it's 21 days that sort of we've calculated it scientifically as to how long it needs, or is he just going with 21 days because it seems?
This is based on you need 21 days to create new neuron pathways, and you need 21 days to change habits. Different sciences have come to the same conclusion that as a human being, you need more or less 21 days to go into a new way of doing things or learning things.
So we launched a service in the practice. It takes 10 minutes, whatever, to get the scans done and to set them up in the system. They then go home, and we need them to be able to download stuff, and we need to ensure they've got decent earphones. And then they do it as many times as they want.
Yeah.
And then they come back.
Yeah, correct.
21 days. And we do another scan, and we see
my phone. I think John might be frozen there. But yeah, John, if you can still hear, yes, that is exactly it. And I don't think there's any modifications to be made to the existing technology. It's just there right now. With regards to the downloading of the application, the system automatically sends the person a link to install BioCoherence. And then when they install it, it just basically opens up on a very, very simple screen where they just see their report, they see the frequencies, and they see the balancing. And then when they start running the balancing, as the days progress, they'll see day 1 of 21, day 2 of 21, day 3 of 21. If you don't do a reevaluation, it will still work based on the set of resources and priorities that were discovered during the first scan. But it would be better if you could actually get the person to do another scan every couple of days? Would that be fair to say? Or every week? Or what do you think, Medrick?
You could do it every day. You could do it every week. I mean, the rule would be when you feel that you need to change things somehow. So the meditation changes every day, but if you start feeling that it's going round and round, maybe you can just do a reevaluation and it will adjust things according to where you are now. So
yes,
okay. I would say probably every week.
Yeah.
So probably or 2 times a week, maybe. Maybe not every day. Every day is maybe too much. Between 2 times a week and every week should be okay.
Which then actually comes down to the package that you sell them. If there's going to be constant reevaluations, then it's going to be the gold package, or it's going to be the silver package of the 21-day program.
Yeah. So my intuitively, you'd think, well, for a first time user, then maybe an uncomplicated 21 days, just listen to the frequencies, get used to create a habit of listening to it, making it part of your day type thing, is probably the best approach to go. And then you can build, so when they come back and if they enjoyed it and they want to do more, then you can start increasing the level of service. But to get them into the system, I think we do it the really baby step number 1.
Yeah, and also it'd be good to actually be able to remind them to do it from within the application as well. So you can actually send them in-app alerts.
It could be possible that people come back to your place once a week and just open their recording and do a reevaluation and go back, and it
for those who want, but that requires someone to be keen from day 1, which I think will build. I think my guess is will build up their keenness.
Yeah,
they'll want to see that there is a change, and then they'll want to do more. But in the first 21 days, if we try and do lots of different things, then we might fall over. We might fall over.
Anyway, for the few that are curious, they might get more information on internet or something like that and find out that they can go forward and ask you at that point that they want to do more. But that will probably not be the majority.
Yeah, and what I would need to launch that service is someone who was the professional consultant, and they're not so easy to find.
What a professional consultant for what?
Well, to be able to work with the patient, going through all the screens and the detailed analysis.
Oh yeah,
so complete knowledge in the app, right, John? Functional.
So that person both has to be knowledgeable of the body and everything in the beginning, and then can work through the software. So that's not something for day 1.
No,
unless
that's the ideal scenario, I would think. Yeah, that's ideal.
Unless they find someone. But hopefully the equipment and its knowledge of its existence will hopefully the marketing of the equipment and the knowledge of the equipment and the word of mouth will start attracting the people who want to use the professional version.
Absolutely, yeah. And also just to remind you that when you send or when the customer receives the installation link for BioCoherence, they will be able to use it for one time, and then they'll have to become a subscriber for the Me package, for the Me
Okay.
Play package, which is approximately $10 per month.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, could we do it? I mean, what we could have is a beginner's trial, 21 days, and then when they come back and they say, yeah, this is great, I want to do more of it, that's when you then take them into the next package.
Agreed, Jim. Agreed.
What we have in the app is that you can play one fuel meditation for free. And then if you want to go on, you have to subscribe, but the subscription is €10 or $10, something like that. And you can do it just for 1 month.
Yeah, I mean, presumably what we could do is say, right, we're giving a 21-day free trial, and then after the 21 days, then we start charging. Because I think if it was just like one use, just one meditation, then you have to pay for the next one, they wouldn't bother. Whereas what we need them to experience is how much they can improve. So in a sense, the 21 days is our hook to get them to become a subscriber.
Yeah. I think about it, but this is not the current plan. I think about it.
Okay.
So the current
I was thinking giving a first meditation for free was already generous, but you asked for 21 days for free, which would be very, very, very generous. And at one point we have to decide that someone has to pay for the product.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
But
so because if I said, oh, okay, we can give 21 days for free, maybe you said, okay, maybe we should give them 1 year for free, and then they are hooked and they start paying. At one point we have to put a limit on when we have to have people start paying. And there is another aspect. It's that if people don't pay, they don't.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah.
They don't implicate themselves in the process. So they can do a fuel.
Yeah,
they can do a fuel meditation for 1 day, and if they say, okay, wow, I think this will be worth, then they can pay for it. And because they pay for it, they will do it up to the end. If they don't pay for it,
yeah, no, okay, I can live with that.
No implication.
You could have a few days, maybe more than one, but a couple of days, and then do you want to continue? And that's when you pay the €10.
you propose handling the commercial side? So a customer comes into your shop, they see the sign for BioCoherence, they go, oh my God, what is that? How do I get involved? Like, have you thought about what your procedure will be, or do you even want to talk about it on the call?
Well, as with all the new technology, as soon as and especially in Scotland, the mere mention is you got to pay for it, shuts people down. Even if this €10 cost is going to significantly change the rest of their life and their health. Well, I'm not paying 10. Because actually, the other point is in Scotland, the eye test is free as well. The eye test is free. So they're sort of used to, they get all the services we provide to them for, are free. So they're not in an environment where they're expecting to pay.
So then would you be then offering this to them for free?
In the beginning, because it's like for 21 days, you've got the easiest way to sell a product to someone is to let them realize how wonderful it is. Once they then realize how wonderful it is, you can charge them a lot more money. then
Yes, but I think doing one fuel meditation is enough to realize if it's good for you or not.
okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that because then you say it's up to you. You know, we've done the analysis, or we've done the test in the practice. We've set you up with your own app. You have an experience, and then if you want to continue, there's this monthly fee, or there's this fee. There's a €10 charge, and then you come back within your period, and you have a second test, or you then decide whether you want to have a second test and whether you want to continue.
So, John, am I missing something?
Sorry, if you try to sell it how wonderful it is, they will just won't believe you.
Are people walking in and you're just treating and doing the analyst for free then? Is what you're saying? Or how do you get paid? Or are you offering something else that people are coming in? Or do you just have like a free BioCoherence shop like in Scotland?
Well, we already have the practice. We already have the practices, and we already have staff in the practices. So,
John runs a fleet of opticians for the eyes.
Okay. So you're adding this to people coming in for their eyes. So however it works over there, you're getting paid by the government or whatever for eye care. So
well, we do, yeah. So
okay.
But we'll not get a fee until we start charging a fee, and it's how do you get over the initial huge resistance to start paying for a service which no one can actually comprehend what the hell it does until you've experienced it. And then you're in, and then you're either in or you're out. And once they're in, we then we've created a revenue stream. We've effectively monetized the patient. So I'm already collecting money from the patient because I sell them contact lens or glasses. So this is another, and it will also bring them in. The attraction to me is it'll bring them in on a more regular basis.
I think the beauty here that I see is that we're able to hone in on any specific set of biomarkers, let's say clean up the gut or something that will move their health profile forward and thereby improve their vision. You know,
right.
Yeah.
If you tie those together, you know?
Yeah, because no one's really looking at that, but I see that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's just kind of different how things work here. Because if you're on insurance here, you're getting shit medicine over here where they're not really fixing it. Like, you know, that's kind of like the dichotomy here. And I've done enough postdoctorate trainings and stuff like this where usually the last day, you know, for alternative stuff, usually the last day, they're just talking about how to get around the insurance company and how to write this up so it goes on people's insurance. And that it's a whole like thing here, but that's not what I'm dealing with. I mean, I don't know, Anthony, either. Yeah. You don't do any services that take insurance over there, do you?
I don't, but some practitioners do. And obviously, you know, it's all about the billing and coding, but that's kind of expanding. So it's more inclusive now of some chiropractic and some
chiropractors are in there.
But that's a US thing. But
exactly.
in John's case, and I think the general potential for BioCoherence is to be able to isolate the biomarkers in a way that we can classify them like these are psychological markers that if we're looking from a psychological or behavioral standpoint or a particular type of physiological standpoint, or in this case, you know, these are the biomarkers that may correlate to eye health or this sort of thing.
Right.
Maybe that would make it easier for us to make sense of all the comprehensiveness and intensity within the program if we can have some kind of way to kind of earmark some of these in sets or something, if that makes any sense to anyone.
And to the extent that we do actually see an improvement in eye health, then the world and his dog will want to come, because it's a problem which is increasing rather than decreasing.
Yeah, these pixelated flicker rates of our phones aren't helping our eyes at all, are they?
Yeah, so
Blue light.
it's a thing which you can tell yourself. You can self-diagnose whether your vision's improving.
Right.
You don't need a specialist to tell you
Oh, if you can see or not, right? Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden, you know, the cataracts are decreasing, or the eye. So it's to me, the system is one of the few systems I've seen which is capable of solving eye issues, because it identifies where the weakness is in the body and helps that weakness.
Yeah, on a different note, I find that the Qigong and the muscle stuff to the face absolutely increases eye health.
Right.
And visibility. I know, I mean, I haven't worn glasses or my contacts since my last basketball game in college. Actually, I think I did do a concert once. And I could tell with my phone upgrades, my eyes would start to drop, and I'd have to, like, you know, go in and get the points and do things. So, I mean, I do think there's something to that weakness that people don't see. It's just like, hey, just put this piece of glass over your eye and you'll be fine. Don't try and fix anything. So it's great that we're using it on this. That's a lot deeper than, you know, it's holistic for sure. So, and then I think too, there's like that, that's one of the things that I like about this part, is that esoteric and the emotional and the mental thing where people don't actually know what's going on. But when you look at what you're seeing and you're not looking at things and your eyesight's going, it's like, what aren't you looking at inside, and how do you redirect that? Which was, I think the frequencies help a lot. And that's kind of when we were getting to the, not to like get all crazy all over the place on this meeting, but going back to the animal thing, why people were asking, because then you get something like a kid or an animal that can't really express itself and you don't know what's going on, but you're able to do a reading. And if you can see the biomarkers right, you can start to work something without the client being able to fully express what their symptoms are. You know, a lot of people know like something's wrong, you know, oh, now my eyes aren't working as well, or whatever that is. But if you can't communicate what that is, then what do you do? So that's why I think this is great, because then, you know, you get that evaluation thing.
Yeah, and then you build the business, or the service grows, and you'll eventually become a specialist.
Yeah, and I think with the 21-day thing, that's like a great start. But I think for here too, that's going to be a tough one to get people even to go on their own if they have like a sensor, to get a reading each day to progress. I mean, I see how that's like great, but at least over here, it seems like not a lot of people take that good of care of themselves unless they're like really in a cancer regimen or something like that, or dedicated to that. So I think like the 21-day thing, and then if like, you know, you're just getting a reading after that and seeing the change. A lot of people want to see the change in their chart and be able to see that and what's it doing. Of course,
that's why it must be fun, you know. It must be something fun that you do. You know, people stopped going to movies, and they like to go to have a series at night, because they always get the same characters, and this is something familiar. And I want the 21-day program to be something like that. Like, cool, I will get half an hour for me before going to bed, and I will do my 21-day meditation program, and it will be always the same host guiding me towards myself. And it should be something that people are willing to go because it's cozy, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with that. I'm just talking the evaluations in between. complicate things, I guess. I don't know, unless they have the sensor. So I guess that's kind of like a hang up here on then whose bank account the sensor's on when someone else takes it out of you, you know. But you know, I mean, it's just people seeing the differences. I think people like the charts and seeing like an evaluation that shows like an improvement or where they're going rather than just them feeling it themselves. A lot of people like to be told what they feel, you know, in a sense, because we're so programmed over here with it. So
Isn't this is the idea behind the tracking, right? You take another second measurement after the inside of the first measurement, you just remeasure through time, and then you get this tracking that shows you the improvement. But then you want someone to interpret that or to go deeper and tell you what's going on, see what the differences are on a deeper level. Yeah.
Yeah, even like showing people like the PDF, you know, file of what is it, they just kind of glaze over because it's, you know, over most people's heads. And it's like,
Yeah, I think maybe as well the PDF could be a little bit simplified for general consumption for the end user, like, you know.
yeah, and I'm still looking at it, you know, getting things and learning in what is that, the progress page. I'm still like kind of figuring out a little bit. But it's nice to see those side by sides where, you know, people can see something shifting and stuff like that. But you know, like it says, people's end experiences when they're feeling something, especially well, I think where the charts come in a lot of time, what I've seen in my clients when I was taking more clients is that people forget what their symptoms are. And if I didn't, that's where I learned to take notes, because they would come in and then I'd see them the next time and they're coming back. And I'm like, well, how you doing? Oh, fine. Well, how was the treatment? Are you good or whatever? What happened? Oh, nothing really happened. I don't know. And then I go back to my notes. It's like, well, you still depressed when you're getting out of bed? They're like, oh no. Well, you still get sick after you eat? They're like, oh no, I don't do that anyways. Are you still mad at your mom? Oh no, you know what? They totally don't even know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know that's like a general thing unless people really know their bodies, and it seems like it's getting worse here with people can't remember the past, whether it's in politics or last week or their health or anything. It's like everyone's so focused on what's coming and next. So, I mean, and that's why I think I like those charts and trying to make that friendly and seeing things, you know, is great, you know, and it looks like people, like the chakra charts, and I'm still trying to figure those out a little bit, but that's a good visual and people really seem to like that with that visual. And all those charts and seeing that, even if they're not really grasping what it's really saying, they like the pictures. And it's like, okay. You know, they're like, oh, wow, that's cool. Those are my chakras.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, even if they can't tell what it's saying, I mean, they love that. And with like the dots going around and stuff. So that's kind of some of the feedback that we've been getting.
What has the process been when you went out to your contact group to do the scans? Was it a painless process? Were there any problems? Like, what did people?
That went pretty well. That went well. Actually, everything worked and it went through. And you know, Laura handled it mostly because it was her people, and I just came in and did that to introduce her, you know, because she wants to start doing it. So that went well. What I would have done if it was my office is I would have made the people sit there and do the first one rather than running in and out and going home and listen to frequencies or whatever.
Yeah.
How
many people did she run through?
I think we did like 7 maybe.
Okay. And
So
that was basically sit down, create a new client profile, do a scan, and basically send them access to the application to use it.
Well, I mean, we just texted them the sound file.
Okay.
rather than uploading an app or, you know, I mean, because that's like one more step to them so far.
So when she is using it again, straight from within their client profile, you can actually send them a link to install the application, and then they can actually install a lighter version of the application, view their report, and then be able to access the frequencies and the balancing from within there. So, which I know right now you're just basically testing it out and sending text with frequencies and that, but it actually can all be contained within the BioCoherence system, you know.
So then the goal with like you guys then would be getting people more on the app and using it from the app, right?
Because it just actually makes more sense, because then, you know, they'll be able to update the program, you know,
right.
they'll be able to engage, and then actually if they want to, like, they actually will only have access at the beginning just to be able to play the frequencies and the balance, but then they can actually go in and read the analysis as well, where they can get a huge amount more information. But, you know, we don't kind of put that up front, because it can scare a lot of people away, you know.
Yeah.
Once they go beyond being mesmerized by the chakras, then they start going, what the hell is this? You know, because it's just like a huge amount of information.
So the setup process here would be, you set up the account under the provider, say in this case Laura,
Yep.
for her 7 clients.
Well, they're on mine in this case.
They're on yours. Okay.
Yeah.
So
they're all
they're under. And then when they set up their own, those two are linked together, or how does this play out in terms of structurally, so that TJ could still say support them from a distance now, so he can see their future scans?
So then, as the professional, TJ would have a professional account, and then within that account, he can create multiple client accounts. So he goes and creates the client account or the new customer account, name, date of birth, email address, things like that. And then he can then switch to go into that person's profile to actually do a recording, and then he can then switch back to his own and create another client. And then from within there, he can move from his profile into all of the different client profiles.
so it just has a plus underneath. So my name's on the top. Yeah, Nat, I would just hit the plus and then fill out another thing. So then I have a list, and then it alphabetizes. And then there's a little square in the corner that says how many readings that they have.
Yes.
So right now everyone's has 1. So I think I have that.
So then when they actually then download the app on their account, they have to use the same email to log in and create a password. And then that is also going to be linked under TJ. That's the process that I'm trying to flush out here.
It's the same account. When you create a customer, it actually creates an account that they can use to log in. So if they log in with the same email, so the idea is that you create a customer, you can then invite them with one click with the invite button, which will lead to sending an email with how to install the app. And they have to log in on the app with the same email that you registered them, in which case they will find your scan directly.
Okay, so when you fill it out, their email, they log into that, and then they make their own password to get in or whatever?
Yeah, they have a temporary. When you send the invitation, it is sent with a temporary password, I think.
Okay,
So if you didn't set a password, it's a temporary password which is sent with the email. But when they change the password, it is not sent again because it is encrypted. So normally, when you create an account and you send an invite, it should be accompanied with the email and password that they have to use to log in. And with that, they will find the report.
So two things there. Should there be a reading in the initial when you set up the account, or wait to do the reading so they can do it on their device?
No. You should.
we've been doing the reading because I'm the only one with a sensor.
Yeah, exactly. You greet the customer, you create the
Yeah.
account, you do reading, you do your stuff with the priorities and resources and frequencies and everything that you need to do during the session. You send them an invite. So
Then
when they
you
go,
send the invite.
when they go back, or maybe they just receive the invite on their phone, you know, and they can directly install it under your eyes. But otherwise, they just get the invite when they go out of the office, and they can install the app, and they will find your 21-day program and your frequencies and protocols that you set up in the file directly in the app.
Question for me, please, actually. If let's say TJ readjusts the person's profile, so he adds something into the priorities, will that automatically be reflected on their side when they use? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right now, it comes with an alert that the report has been modified and you should sync it to the cloud, but soon it will be automatic. It will be automatic when we implement the right now, there is no notifications in the app, but there will soon be notifications in the app. And when we have the notification system will include the auto updating of everything that happens in the cloud.
So right now, though, you have to, for them to get their stuff off the app, I have to go to
right now, when you launch the app and you want to open a report, there is directly an alert to say this report has been updated, so it will update from the cloud.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if it automatically updates or if you have to click on a button, but anyway, you have a message that it is updated.
And
okay, do you have for them to get on the app though, do I need to send it to the cloud, or does it automatically do that?
Yes. If you don't save to the cloud, it stays on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's fine. Okay, great.
Same thing on my to-do list. I have to add some options, and one option would be to automatically save everything to the cloud, because I was more focused on privacy, which means that I was very happy with everything staying just on your phone. But I realized that it's maybe not such a good idea. In many cases, especially when you are a pro and you are sharing the report, you have to send it to the cloud. But anyway, when you are working on a report and you share with the customer, it automatically sends it to the cloud. So you have to share the report with the customer. If you don't share it with the customer cannot see it. But it's on design, because my approach is that if you don't actively share it with the customer, it means that you don't want the customer to see it.
Right.
So you have to actively give it the right to access the data that you worked on.
Now, when we say the cloud, this is not out on the open internet. This is the BioCoherence cloud, which is a
sure, of course.
system. You know,
and then what is the research then button? There's like the share for research. People ask about that.
That just from me and the team that could open the report from our devices. So it makes the reports in our shared reports. And so if you share for research, I have no information on it. But if you share for research and then you send a ticket to say there is a problem with this report, please check it, then we can access it.
And you can check it.
Yeah. So you have to share for research and send the ticket.
And is there anything else with that? I mean, because some people like that idea, some people don't, thinking that, I mean, I don't know. Is there like research, like when people see research, not necessarily about them, like if you're databasing, like they're reading, I don't know, is there anything else that you guys can use that for?
Right now, we don't do any kind of studies on the recordings, but this is something that will come. So I guess in the next version, there will be an option to share basic information, anonymized basic information on each recording, so that we can do some deep learning on it. And this will be very useful to validate and to create studies on each biomarkers.
So
but right now it's not used.
Yeah. So, okay. So in the future, maybe, but right now that just means that you can look at it and fix something if you need to, or whatever, or help out. But yeah, because some people are like, oh yeah, send this to research. As my chart advances, maybe this helps somebody else.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can also do it, because probably we can. A lot of people send for research right now, but it's also because we are in a beta, so people are keen to do it. But for sure, we could also do some deep learning on all the share for research reports at one point. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm explaining that right to people, because some people really like that, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I read this, it's like, hey, everybody that has like this eye thing and they get this frequency, it helps, and then you see.
Yeah,
So,
but for that, I will have to add some comments on each information, because you want to share it for research, but I don't know why. So maybe you want to share it for research for a specific reason, and it would be very
sure,
interesting to know it. So you just add the comments to say, it gave me some very interesting information on this or that, and we can know.
Yeah, and how I read that is because, like, when I do like my shamanic work with people and stuff, it seems like anything, like when people are doing their own healing, they're like creating like this neural network and this pathway to harmonize whatever dis-ease or distortion that they have. So when they do that themselves, that kind of goes into the collective, and it makes it easier for the next person, like especially with like family trauma or something. I say one person heals this issue that they have, and then all of a sudden, without going to therapy, the rest of their family all kind of fix this issue that they have.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I was seeing that, on that, as more people heal and work through their stuff, it's like contagious, and it makes it easier for the next person and the next person and the next person.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys were thinking along those lines, but that's kind of what I saw in that, and what makes this beautiful. And if you're databasing, hey, it's easy to fix intestinal problems because we have 50 people here that ran this intestinal protocol on themselves.
Yeah, that's the idea, of course.
Yeah.
That's the idea, but I will need some more tools to really be able to process it in an automated way. So
yeah, great.
But this is in the plans. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page, and I'm not just cool.
And
also, this group makes a natural vortex. I've seen it in many healing systems. When you get to some critical number of 1,500 or whatever, suddenly the system starts working better, and people start getting this intuitive thing. This collective consciousness grows, and all that stuff. It's a real effect. Yeah.
You may have stepped away. I think that's exactly what I was trying to just say. Like, if you didn't hear that.
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Yeah, like the collective, where it's like contagious, where people start doing, like when I was taking more clients practicing with the shamanism, every time people would like heal their stuff, and mitigate that, it would make it easier for the people in their community and closer for them to do similar work, and it kind of spread. So then all of a sudden people don't have like these lower base, and as collectively as a species, we're tackling deeper issues together, and that vortex thing. So this is great. This really feels like something too that just with like the computers and the AI stuff is kind of how I'm pitching it. There's so many calculations going on, and this is where it's like actually working for us to help, better ourselves and health, rather than just the evaluation. But it's like, oh yeah, we're learning how humans heal, and these frequencies like really help it. So I feel like that's like a great thing.
And we will be going for the webinar in 24 hours from now, or in 23 hours from now. It's going to be devoted just to the 21-day program, to the balancing. So, right now we're talking about the commercial ins and outs of it, and we kind of touched on the functionality a little bit. But tomorrow we're going to run through all of that. So we basically explain, when a patient comes in, this is what happens. This is what their experience is. This is basically how you can track them and keep track of it. So the first product for BioCoherence, out of BioCoherence, the 21-day meditation program.
Good.
Nice.
And also I have to say, the 21-day will improve vastly in the coming months or years, maybe, because I have so many ideas, but not so many time to do it. So this is really, this is really a first version that is currently functioning, but I'm sure when we will go back in 1 year or 2 years and look backwards, we will say, okay, this has vastly improved.
It's now called the 21-minute meditation
Yeah,
program.
the OG model.
Yeah.
Vintage. The vintage meditation.
where you actually had to listen, like, you know, back in the day. All right, cool. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for your time. We will move the conversation back to the Telegram chat. We'll share this with you, unless you have any more questions or anything else you'd like to discuss now. Or we'll just talk tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, seems good. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if we could, within the 21-day, we could have a 21-day program for specifically for the opticians, where we can include the eye thing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have thought it's naturally going to be in, but if we could add it in, then at least.
So we'll basically include the eye frequencies as default on all optician users. Yeah.
No, but you could easily, in a few clicks, add these biomarkers systematically. One thing I was thinking about is choose some biomarkers in your favorites. So you just go to your favorite folder and you just add them or see them in a glance, you know. There is already a function to add some favorites, but I don't think it's active, so I will look into it. But the idea would be that you do the scan, and then you go to biomarkers, favorites, you add your favorite items, and it will be blended into the 21-day program anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, by definition, as you said, everything already exists. It's all we're now doing is deciding on the packaging.
Yeah. Yeah, and making your lives simpler as a user for me.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if you need to, Edric said he'll go up to Glasgow for a couple of weeks to spend time in the optician, so it's all good.
What? To Granada, you mean?
I think
Yeah. In fact, yeah.